What's going on, YouTube? Nathan back with another video presentation. Hope everyone's having a safe and wonderful Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Before we get into the video, I just want to take the opportunity, again, Merry Christmas to all. Excuse me. I know for some, what's going on around us with this craziness of COVID, may have lost a loved one. I know that there's a seat that's empty at their table. That loved one you may not get that you've called. You call every year to wish them happy Christmas. You expect them to come through the door, hugs and kisses, and it's just a shitty year. And I just wanted to say that keep your head up, no matter what. God has plans for us, and we just have to look. We just have to hug our loved ones a little tighter, tell them how much we love them, because tomorrow's never promised. So I just want to give that message out. Also, too, man, I want to, send thoughts and prayers to those that some explosion down in Nashville, Tennessee. I really hope that those that were in the radius of the explosion are not seriously hurt. I want to send my thoughts and prayers to those families, and then those in Baltimore, downtown near the BGE building. Send my thoughts and prayers to those. Hope they're doing well. Hope they're recovering. And again, man, you just gotta count your blessings and just thank God for another day. But what's coming down the pipe? Not Cardi. I apologize. Iggy Azalea and Playboy Cardi have come across my radar, and that video, and then basically she's went on social media, and is essentially just saying how he's a deadbeat. And I'm gonna talk about, I have an issue with that from the standpoint of you going on social media to air out that kind of stuff. And then Shaquille O'Neal, Big Aristotle, is getting he's getting flack because he was in Megan Thee Stallion's Instagram, and people, her fans were questioning, well, why are you here? And he clapped back with a simple thing. And I'm gonna tell you what he said in that video, so be prepared for that video. And then another video is coming down the pipe. This is a real interesting topic, I kid you not. The city of Baltimore's elected officials are due for a pay raise. And with the recent, with COVID, and to see where, with the crisis economically, and not just Baltimore, but other cities, other states are in right now. I'm going to really talk about why I don't think they should be getting a pay raise. So those 3 videos, I'm going to try to get those out to y'all Sunday night, Monday, Sunday evening, sometimes Sunday. So if not Sunday, Monday at the least. And then probably the 30th, 31st, just be prepared for a year in review of 2020, what to expect for 2021. But let's get into the video. As you see the title, consider this a part 2. I told you I was going to talk about COVID and just how I felt about it some more. Go really in depth what I've been really seeing the past couple months, recently this past few weeks, with the recent just surging cases, and then there's a new strand of it in the UK. To really see here what COVID has done. Essentially, you know, COVID has exposed a lot of problems with the United States. COVID has shown that we have a healthcare system that is poor. Excuse me, let me not use that word. That needs to be fixed. There is no way in heck that with the money that we make as a country yearly, that we should have hospitals that are overcrowded. We should have tons of emergency supplies stocked. Because if I remember correctly, I believe they went through a stockpile, and that I believe, if I'm saying this correctly, that Trump got rid of most of that stuff before this even happened. It shows that COVID has really shown that really within the colored community, African American, Hispanic, that healthcare is lacked. You know, for example, I believe it's in Mississippi or Alabama, one of those two states, and it's called a desert testing site, where you have to drive a certain amount of miles to get tested for COVID. That is ridiculous. No way should I have to drive 35, 40 miles to a testing desert to get tested for COVID. And what it is essentially, it's a mobile lab where you literally just park near the mobile, where you park, and they test you right there. Where you should have access to go to a doctor's office or a hospital. It makes no sense. Okay. COVID has also shown the emotional, mental strain of those that do virtual learning. I think that there is really something with having that face-to-face connection. I really do think that's important, particularly in education. But at the end of the day, I have to think about, if I have kids, I have to think about their safety. Because, you know, for example, in the state of Maryland, I believe where Dr. Samuels was saying that, you know, kids are not the main source of COVID. Okay, that may be true, but I don't know where, for example, Mr. and Mrs. Jacobs going. You know, I don't know what they're doing. You know, their son or daughter could be home and one could be out hanging out with friends. I don't know what they're doing. See, these kind of things that we're not taking in consideration. You know, for example, you know, we have, and you know, we have politicians, it doesn't matter if they're part of the DNC. No, seriously, it doesn't matter if they're Democrat or Republican. It does not matter. That are telling us, you know, where we can't travel, you know, to see loved ones. We can't go to barbershops. We can't go to salons. We can't do that kind of stuff. But if I remember correctly, if I'm saying this right, one of Trump's, I hate saying his name. Ugh. One of, I believe she is part of his crisis team. And she talked about how she advised no one to travel. And I'm going to leave that in the description for y'all to see. And contradicted herself. She went to go see her family. Now, do you see that you see how these politicians are playing games with us as the American people? Where they're telling us, like, don't do this, but we could do that. Because we, you know, I'm a politician. So what? When you have people who, you know, when you're being told that, I believe Dr. Fauci said, stay home for Christmas. And that's a tradition for some. Every year, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, you know, big, you know, getting together, opening presents, eating, you know, turkey, mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, potato salad with grapes. You know, that's hard for some. Now listen, when it comes to the holiday festivities, I'm an introvert. I'm not really, you know, the type of person who likes to really be around family like that. Hey, how are you doing? Conversate. But most of the time, I'm in the corner. I'm to myself. I'd rather just be home and relaxing. That's just me. And then, what COVID has also shown, COVID has shown that we gotta, we have to really do better. We're taking care of ourselves mentally, spiritually, emotionally. It has been heartbreaking to hear people committing suicide. People kind of giving up hope. They don't really see an end in this. Where we have seen, stories, testimonies of those that have been through a tremendous experience of a loved one, being on the ventilator to making a full recovery, coming out the hospital some number of days later. I understand that this is not easy for any of us. This is something this is nothing we've experienced before. I mean, okay, some of you could say the Ebola virus, HN1 virus. I cannot think of the virus a few years ago, particularly like down in Florida in South America, where it was a specific type of mosquito. Women got bit. It affected pregnant women, and the way the babies were born, their heads were shaped differently. Their heads were kind of compacted, and but this is something that we have never experienced before, and it's kind of interesting to see how also too during this time people have taken advantage of COVID. Now, I made a video of there was an African American woman who said that her boyfriend abused her and showed a clip of the house or the apartment that wherever she was living was virtually trashed, and everyone came back and said that was a lie. And you can see I'll leave it in the description if I remember to do it. But I mean, it's there. There's multiple videos saying that she's lying, but that's besides the point. Then we have people really out here that are hurting. What I mean by hurting, they've lost their job, they've had to take a pay cut, they've gotten evicted. Their power's been cut off, their heat's been cut off. They're struggling to pay bills, struggling to put food on the table. For some, Christmas may have been tight this year. But see, COVID has also shown, and what I find, and I'm gonna say this now in this video. When I get into that video, particularly I'm talking about with Baltimore's officials about the pay raise thing. It's amazing to see after 8 months that how our government could not come to an agreement about a stimulus. The most you can come up with is $600 per person, $1,200 per couple, and that's if they have a child that's under 18. Because I'm gonna tell you who's really suffering. It's the American people. Because now you have this guy, that man in the White House, who goes in front of a camera, and he's been nowhere to be found these past few months. Particularly, ever since the election, he's been talking about how, stop the vote. This is the most rigged election. Even though all 50 states have certified their votes, it's still not enough. But you have over 100-something House Republicans. I believe the number is 146. That are more concerned about the votes than trying to help the American people. This is why I'm a firm believer that voting for whoever the next president is the most least important thing, as opposed to voting who your senator is, who your representative is, senator, district congressman, mayor, DA. They're more important than the president because they have more of an impact on your life. Yes, the president does play a role, but at the end of the day, they kind of set the tone for how we live every day. So after 8 months, this is the fruit of their labor. $600. That's a slap in the face to most people. So if you believe that most people are not going, this is what they're saying. If you're saying that as a GOP, you believe that, well, we're not going to give them more money because they're not going to work. Well, how can you say that and they've lost jobs? You have people that were making 100,000 plus. They're feeling the squeeze too. It's not just the middle class. It's most of the higher class too. When you have people, for example, I'll give you an example. I believe it was in Texas. It's in Texas. So I was watching the news. There's a 17-year-old, and it completely just. I'm like, wow. He's talking about, well, I'm going to focus on graduation from high school, and then once I'm done, I have to go out here and look for a job to provide for my family. This is a 17-year-old. You would think most 17-year-olds would be focused on school. Now I get it. I'm the same way too. You got to, you do what you got to do to support your family. You do what you have to do. Then on top of that, you have people that are continuing to bump the system, not adhere by the guidelines, and do whatever they want to do. We look at California. California is shut down right now because people don't listen. When wear the mask, socially distance, this is getting ridiculous. Particularly now, like in Maryland, for example. Now, if you ask me, particularly for Maryland, I think Hogan, I think he was too easy on the restrictions. I think he loosened up. I think he should have still been firm. I think he should have said, well, for now, for example, now that we're in stage 3, I want to open it up at 25%. And after 2 to 3 weeks, I'll reconsider to go at 50, 75. That's how he should have done it. And then again, also too, let's be careful with the media, because again, the media, you cannot take everything the media says at face value. As I mean, for some part, some media is going to give you half truths. You have people that are literally afraid to come out their houses. You have people that are literally going out here in grocery stores and panic shopping. You have literally people that are just trying to make it. When you see a line for a food bank that's some 2 to 3 miles long, that should say something. Now, these vaccines that have come in, I'm curious to see how they work. I know I want to get one because I have to think about not only my health, but I think about the health of my family and those around me. People are uncomfortable because a couple of friends say they think it's saline and some other stuff, but you know, they're entitled to. I'm not forcing them to get the vaccine. They don't want it. They don't want it. But we have to do what's best for our families. Just like you can make the same. I hear the same thing about getting the flu shot. But with the one thing, the point, what I'm trying to bring, my point I'm trying to say in this whole video is that COVID has shown a lot, not as a society, but as the world. We have a lot of work to do. COVID has shown political corruption. COVID has shown brokenness. It has shown division. It has shown, that there are things that we have to that we need to hold, we need to fix, and we have to start holding people, and we have to start holding ourselves accountable. And we have to understand that we can defeat this thing. We can beat this. But it takes a village. It takes all of us to do our part. So when you hear someone say, wear the mask, wear the mask. Socially distance, socially distance. If you want to have friends over, family over, let's do you, but got negative, hey, listen, y'all might want to need to quarantine for a few days before y'all just, we do something. Because those particularly, and I'm going to say that whether it's on this platform or other media, they're telling y'all to do whatever you want. They're not going to tell you what they feel. They don't come around me with that stuff. They ain't going to tell you that, but they're going to tell you something else. We just have to be smarter. We have to really take this serious and understand that I understand it's been almost a year. No, actually, I tell you what, it's been a year. Because there were reports that it's been in the country as early as December. I can give you an example where I worked, I came in, had an early shift, and my supervisor and a coworker were literally scrubbing the office down because the COVID had put them in fear like that. So we didn't know what it was at the time. COVID has also shown that, with sports, we have guys that they're just not responsible. I mean, look at, for example, with the Houston Rockets. James Harden was supposed to go to a strip club. He denied. He said he was at a friend's party. John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins and a few other players were gathered all to get haircuts. See, those kind of things we have to start thinking about. Where you have, the women's basketball team, Duke, go Blue Devils. After 4 games, they've said we're not playing. But for the most part, I'm surprised sports has survived this. Sports has gotten this far. Because particularly, I really thought the NFL, with the way it was going, I thought the season would have been halted. NBA with 72 games, so let's, see how that goes. Major League Baseball. But with COVID, we all have to do our part. And there may be days you get frustrated, you get tired of being in the house. Where you may feel down, where you just want this all to be over. I understand that. I get it. I'm the same way too. But we have to take it one day at a time. This virus is not tomorrow. It's just not going to go boof. We can beat this thing. We just have to do our part and be smart. Be vigilant when we go out here. So please, listen to your governors, your mayors, some of these health officials, and do your part. And don't listen to people who talked about, well, I have it, and look what, and I'm invincible. Don't listen to that bullshit. I'm referencing when after that man in the White House had gotten COVID, and basically said, I'm invincible, look at me. Don't listen to that kind of nonsense. I'm leaving it there, man. I just wanted to make this video because I thought it was important to really say that and just understand that, this is something that we will get through. We just have to take it one day at a time, and we have to work together and all do our part and just be smart, man. Because I just feel bad particularly for around the world. So many loved ones have been lost, and particularly with the holidays. It's not Christmas without mom, dad, uncle, grandma, grandpa, cousin, nephew. Doesn't matter. And we just have to keep our heads up. Better days are coming. Keep the faith. Just put your trust in God. With that being said, like I said, those 3 videos, be on the lookout for those. This will go up tomorrow, tonight, tops. But I hope everyone has a great Christmas. Had a great Christmas. Hope Santa Claus treated everybody well. I'm out. Peace. Stay up.